You go to bed sometimes and you got you're thinking, how are we going to do this show tomorrow? All right, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And then I woke up this morning and was like, whoa, SGA makes a lot of money. Well, I guess we'll talk about that. Whoa! Wow! Oh, all right.
Yeah.
The Milwaukee Bucks are waiving point guard Damian Lillard. They are going to stretch his $113 million contract over the next, 6 years? 5 years?
Yeah.
Is that what you were saying in the update? 5 years? 5 years, but he is now a free agent. Let's not forget he did tear his Achilles, so he will be out for the next season. But Damian Lillard is a free agent, and I'm curious. Now, the headline states this as to make room for the Miles Turner deal, which is a big move for the Bucks, and we can talk about that as well.
It's a two-parter. That's the reason they did what they did.
The Miles Turner is a huge grab for them, and even a worse loss for the Pacers. But let's center this around Damian Lillard, and how does this all come to fruition? This is their guide. Imagine the draft capital, the assets, the money they put into getting this guy and making this happen, and now it's over in a flash.
Yeah, and that's the thing about you've heard me say this now a couple times. CBAs define eras. And
we've talked about this. This is a whole new ball game.
And Ramona Shelburne had it earlier today on Twitter. Ramona Shelburne, ESPN, was like, don't expect this to be the last time we see guys waived and stretched, because the implications of being in the first, second aprons, the punitive nature. It is destroying the Celtics.
Dude, second apron is the trendiest word I've heard since food cart.
Yeah, no, it's a dumb word, and
it is literally the only thing I hear people talk about now.
Who knew there would be ramifications of trying to change things so that there was some de facto hard cap that would all of a sudden make building teams much more difficult. And the thing that I've been monitoring is not the first tier guys like Dame, Giannis, SGA, those guys that when they're at their powers, are all timers, first ballot Hall of Famers.
Without doubt.
It's not even the next tier down of your really good all stars. It's the guys that we saw traded yesterday. Michael Porter Jr.
The fringe dudes. Not quite all stars, but got skills.
Yeah, but Zach LaVine. Domantas Sabonis is probably the top of that group. He's an all-star, but the way you build around him is finite, right?
D'Angelo Russell, dudes like that.
Well, he's even further down, but if you say him at his best, sure. But it's guys that got these really big deals that under the new CBA, they sure as hell would not. You're just would Sabonis still get a lot of money? Yeah. Would they give him the max? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Zach LaVine? Absolutely not. Michael Porter Jr. getting that money? Absolutely not.
Poor Zach LaVine. He's the guy that nobody wants, but is always on the market. He's great. He's good.
He's good.
I shouldn't say great. He's good.
He's very good.
Very good.
He's very people who crap on him, I'm like,
no.
He's a good player.
Yeah, and he kind of had a little bit of a rap, not to tangent too much, but he kind of had a little bit of a rap of an Aaron Gordon. It's cool, you can dunk. Can you play basketball? And then it turned out as he aged, he can play basketball.
And there's some injury stuff with him, but as a basketball player, if you were paying him $35 million a year, you're great, awesome.
Yeah.
I could talk myself into that. Even if you could go maybe it's a slight overpay a couple years ago, in the current market, that's good. If you get a 20-point a game scorer, that's a 3-level score you could run your offense through efficiently at $35 million, you're doing great. Why this is so crazy for the Bucks is if this doesn't work, because if Giannis looks at this, because Giannis had to have known because he was helping recruit Miles Turner to come to the Bucks.
Thinking Turner signs, we'll get a healthy Lillard, nobody works out harder than Damian, no one's a dog like Damian,
knew
blah,
that
blah,
doing
blah.
this would require this. I've been told that Dame was told about this possibility yesterday. So, but from Dame's side of it,
have a good night's sleep.
He's thrilled.
Well, yeah,
because he gets his
money, and now you're free to do whatever you want.
Whatever you want.
Yeah.
And in talking to him a little bit, not today. I mean, I did talk to him this morning, but a little bit before, he was very likely, no matter what he did, if the Bucks ended up trading him, he was very likely going to rehab here. Now he would go be a part of the team and the facility and all that kind of stuff, but then probably come back and continue rehabbing. Because it's a very long, arduous process. When you're talking about these injuries, whether it's him rupturing his Achilles or Taylor Hendricks for the Utah Jazz, who had a disgusting compound fracture beginning of last season.
I mean, don't sleep on Kyrie's torn ACL either.
If you're talking about injuries that are 8 to 16-month recovery timelines.
Full season injuries.
Yeah, Tyrese Halliburton, Jason Tatum, those guys, they aren't around.
You don't need to be around.
No, like Robert Williams, when he tore his knee, like he went
go
back
where you need
home.
to go.
And,
Nobody's going to blame you for that.
No, because like you're gonna fly up and do your check-ins and do all those kind of things, but it's a lot of just, especially in the beginning, it's rest.
Yeah.
Now Dame's a lunatic, and he told me. He told me 10.
He means that in a nice way.
I love him, but he's somebody needs to protect him from himself, and I mean that in the most loving way. I genuinely love the dude, not just as the guy
I've never met a single person that's interacted with him that's said otherwise.
But like he needs to protect him from himself sometimes. He told me that he got clearance to start working out 10 days post-op.
Really?
10 days.
That's insane.
He's a lunatic.
You can't do that, bro.
Well, I mean, he is. Like, he's just not. So what he's doing is.
See, it sounds like I was telling you before we started, my best friend broke his arm last night. And he was like, oh, my plans for the summer are ruined. Big rafting guy, big mountain bike, exercise fiend. And I know when the doctor clears him, he's going to get at it. And it's like, yo, bro, just slow down a minute.
I mean,
slow down a minute.
I had to with my hip surgery.
Yeah,
I didn't have a choice.
Yeah, especially Achilles, man. Like, how easy it is to tear that again? Plus, it's such a gruesome injury. I cannot imagine what it feels. I had a buddy that happened to him in college, and you could see it coiled up in his calf, and just seeing it makes me not want to think about how it feels.
Dude,
like watching Hallie, they kept showing that clip.
The rebound?
I'm just like, it looks terrible. How is it going to feel?
I'm not going to lie. When Dame tore his Achilles, that was like, number one, I cried.
Well, I think we all felt what you're about to say.
Yeah, but that moment right there is when I gave up basketball.
Yeah.
Like I've been toying with the idea of like I'm gonna really go into golf.
Playing basketball.
Like, I'm done.
Oh yeah.
Like
at our age,
I'm done.
No
like
way.
I'm just like I know guys my age that can continue to play basketball that have all ruptured their Achilles. You guys don't see this when we go to break, but because of my hips, I can't sit for very long periods of time without getting. If you watch on YouTube, you see me shuffling around all the time because it's not okay for me to sit forever, because if I sit for a long period, they will literally tighten up and it's like I stand up like a 90-year-old man. I go over to the wall and stretch my calves, and I stretch my quads and my hamstrings and my back every freaking break, because like after Dame, Tatum, and Hallie, I'm like, those guys are in incredible shape. How the hell is my old busted ass gonna be able to get through that?
I think I felt that way when Clay did it.
Yeah, right. Like I was just like. But I just look at that injury. It's so devastating. The recovery is so long. And Dame's posted a bunch of workout videos down to the Lion's Den and Tiger with Sam, his guy who he works out with. And like he's doing like balance and strengthening exercises around his Achilles. So he's doing like quad and hamstring stuff. And like when I had my hips, I think I mentioned this before, like we were able to diagnose my hip issue because I had an 80% bilateral tear in my right Achilles. And it was because my hip was so bad that my quad moved over, pulled my calf like up, and like it was in this constant state of tightness that I have a little bone spur on the back of my ankle. My Achilles was rubbing against it. The bone was sawing the Achilles.
I don't feel good right
now. No, it was awful. And I went through probably a month of just drastic physical therapy where I was going in 2 and 3 times a week to have my calf scraped out. Let me tell you right now, if you've never had your shins scraped out for 40 minutes with that gua sha tool, it is, especially for me, because at the time I had disgusting shin splints that like I was in tears every time they did this. And finally one time they were just like, have you ever had any of the hip issues? Like, we know your knee issues, but like, and they shot the x-rays and like, shout out Rebound. They're incredible. Shot the x-rays in the room next door, go back in, and my doctor goes, I don't have to tell you, man, your right hip is 80, your left hip is 90. And I was like, word?
I hope everyone's having a nice lunch right now.
Yeah. And so like, but I was going to pop my Achilles like at any given time before this. And that terrified me. And now seeing these injuries and the recovery processes, I'm just like, I can't do that. And for Dame to now have this is crazy, because number one, this is the largest wave and stretch in NBA history.
And probably the beginning, as we said, CBAs dictate generations, and probably the beginning. We saw this in baseball with what the Dodgers are doing, and some people choose not to follow it. Like the Mets are going to pay Soto all up front. Doesn't mean everyone will be stretched.
No, it just looks for these opportunities. And I'm wondering if the league, I think they can reopen it in 2 years to make some amendments, if I remember right, to the CBA. I'm wondering if they're going to keep this going the entirety of the CBA.
Would the league be anti this, though? Do you think it'd be a way to continue to go back to stacking teams?
No, I think would try to find maybe to be a little less punitive, particularly on the second apron side. And I wonder if...
more helpful for the club.
just in clubs in general allow a little more flexibility because it's almost impossible to do transactions when you're in the second apron because you can't aggregate salaries, you can't do these things. But even more than that, I wonder if they discussed the amnesty provision because that was one thing that was not really talked about, but people definitely wondered about the CBA was because of the transition being so different from what it has been. Would they allow an amnesty provision? So you could see a Michael Porter Jr. amnesty. You could see, like those contracts were just like, yeah, we like the dude, but this contract is so. I mean, the Denver Nuggets gave up a 2032 unprotected first-round pick. Now they got Cam Johnson back, and I like Cam Johnson.
Love getting Cam Johnson.
But he has his own injury concerns. But he makes like $17 million less.
Yeah,
$17 million is a really good player in the NBA. So for Dame, he now gets the best of both worlds. He gets all of his money. Because what's crazy is the money that he's getting is the extension that he signed in Portland.
Yeah,
that's the money that starts today.
Bullet dodged.
I didn't want to say it, but grand scheme and all those things.
We're all thinking the same thing.
Did Joe Cronin make the right decision in doing that? And like, it's very hard for me to parse this out, obviously, because I cover the team, but because I love Dame not only as a player but as a person.
Like the guy, yeah.
They've both told me they probably should have done it a year earlier.
Sure.
But neither side was
ready.
Not only that, like Joe can't step in his first thing he does
and trade your franchise player.
And because he's been there forever. He knows the value of what Dame is. Yeah. And Dame, his loyalty that he built up, he couldn't be the guy after saying this that I need to, get out.